As 2026 unfolds, the global cultural spotlight has once again turned towards South Korea, marking what many industry observers are calling a new era of K-culture revival. At the center of this resurgence stands Jin, whose influence extends far beyond music, positioning him as one of the most recognizable cultural figures of the year. Following the completion of BTS's military hiatus and the gradual return of full-scale group and solo activities, Jin's presence has become symbolic of continuity and renewal within the Korean cultural wave. His reemergence has been met with overwhelming enthusiasm, not only from fans worldwide, but also from fashion editors, cultural critics, and global media outlets, who see his return as a signal that K-culture is entering a refreshed and more mature phase. In 2026, Jin's image has been consistently associated with elegance, restraint, and authenticity, qualities that resonate strongly in today's global cultural landscape. His appearances on major fashion magazine covers and at high-profile international events have reinforced his role as a bridge between traditional Korean sensibilities and modern global aesthetics. Rather than chasing trends, Jin has come to represent timeless appeal, a trait increasingly valued as K-culture expands beyond fast-moving pop cycles. Cultural analysts note that Jin's influence reflects a broader shift in how K-culture is perceived. While earlier waves focused heavily on high-energy performance and rapid viral moments, the current revival emphasizes depth, artistry, and narrative. Jin's calm public persona, thoughtful interviews, and selective creative choices align perfectly with this transition, making him a natural emblem of the movement. His impact is also evident in how international audiences are reconnecting with Korean culture as a whole. From renewed interest in Korean fashion and lifestyle to increased attention on Korean language and media, Jin's global visibility plays a quiet but powerful role in sustaining that momentum. He represents a version of K-culture that feels confident, global, and enduring, no longer niche but fully embedded in mainstream cultural conversations. Industry insiders have pointed out that Jin's return carries symbolic weight. As the eldest member of BTS, his post-military activities were closely watched, and his successful reintegration into the entertainment world has been interpreted as a positive signal for the group's long-term legacy. This, in turn, strengthens BTS's position as cultural ambassadors at a time when Korea's soft power continues to grow worldwide. Beyond commercial success, Jin's influence lies in how he reshapes perception. He is often cited as proof that K-culture does not rely solely on constant reinvention, but can thrive through authenticity and emotional resonance. This perspective has resonated strongly in 2026, a year where global audiences seek meaning and connection in the artists they follow. As discussions around the future of K-culture continue, Jin's name is increasingly mentioned not just as a pop star, but as a cultural symbol. His journey from global superstardom through military service to a poised and impactful return mirrors the evolution of K-culture itself. In that sense, Jin is not only participating in the revival, he is helping define what it looks like. With the years still unfolding, one thing is clear. Jin's role in 2026 goes beyond charts and headlines. He stands as a defining figure of the K-culture revival, embodying the balance between legacy and renewal, and reaffirming South Korea's lasting influence on the global cultural stage. The conversation surrounding K-culture in 2026 increasingly centers on sustainability, how Korean entertainment can remain globally relevant without losing its identity. In this context, Jin has emerged as a compelling case study. His approach to fame in this phase of his career reflects a deliberate shift toward longevity rather than immediacy, a mindset that resonates deeply with both industry professionals and audiences worldwide. Unlike the early explosive years of the Korean wave, the current revival is characterized by refinement and balance. Jin's activities reflect this evolution. His public appearances are fewer but more impactful, his creative decisions more selective, and his messaging more introspective. This measured presence has helped redefine what it means to be influential in the modern K-pop era, where cultural impact is no longer measured solely by virality, but by staying power. International media has increasingly highlighted Jin as an example of how Korean artists are maturing alongside their global audience. In interviews, he is often described as grounded and thoughtful, offering perspectives shaped by experience rather than spectacle. These moments have contributed to a broader narrative that K-culture in 2026 is not simply repeating its past success, but building upon it with greater emotional and artistic depth. Observers also point out that Jin's influence extends into how global fans perceive Korean masculinity and artistry. His calm confidence, emotional openness, and understated elegance challenge long-standing stereotypes, presenting a more nuanced image that aligns with evolving cultural values. This shift has been quietly powerful, reinforcing K-culture's adaptability in a changing global environment. At the same time, Jin's role cannot be separated from the larger story of BTS and their collective return to the global stage. His successful solo presence has strengthened anticipation for group activities, creating a sense of continuity between past achievements and future possibilities. For many fans and analysts, this balance between individual identity and collective legacy is a defining feature of the current K-culture revival. Economic and cultural experts have noted that figures like Jin play a crucial role in Korea's soft power strategy, even without overt political messaging. His visibility across fashion, music, and cultural discourse contributes to Korea's image as a country capable of producing artists who influence global taste and conversation. This form of cultural leadership, subtle yet far-reaching, is a cornerstone of K-culture's renewed momentum in 2026. As the year progresses, Jin's name continues to appear in discussions about the future direction of Korean entertainment. Rather than being framed as a fleeting trend, his influence is increasingly viewed as part of a longer cultural arc, one that emphasizes authenticity, resilience, and emotional connection. These qualities have become defining markers of the current era. Ultimately, Jin's status as an icon of the K-culture revival is not the result of a single achievement, but of a carefully built narrative. His journey reflects growth, reflection, and renewal, elements that mirror the broader transformation of K-culture itself. In 2026, as the world looks again to Korea for cultural inspiration, Jin stands as a symbol of how the Korean wave continues to evolve without losing its soul. Another key factor behind Jin's growing recognition as an icon of the K-culture revival is the way audiences respond to him in this new phase. In 2026, global fans are no longer engaging with Korean pop culture purely as entertainment, but as a source of identity, comfort, and long-term inspiration. Jin's presence fits naturally into this shift. His ability to convey warmth and sincerity has strengthened the emotional bond between K-culture and its international audience, reinforcing the idea that cultural influence is built on trust as much as visibility. Social media trends throughout the year have shown that discussions around Jin often extend beyond music or visuals. Fans and commentators frequently highlight his mindset, life perspective, and personal growth after military service. These conversations reflect a broader evolution within fandom culture itself, where maturity and relatability are increasingly valued. Jin's image aligns with this change, positioning him as a figure who grows alongside his audience rather than ahead of it. Cultural commentators have also noted that Jin represents a stabilizing force during a time of rapid transformation in the global entertainment industry. As algorithms, short-form content, and fast-paced trends dominate digital platforms, his steady and intentional presence offers contrast. This balance has helped frame the current K-culture revival as something sustainable rather than fleeting, rooted in narrative continuity instead of momentary hype. In academic and creative circles, Jin's role has begun to be discussed in terms of legacy. Scholars examining the evolution of the Korean wave often point to artists who successfully transition from peak popularity into long-term cultural relevance. Jin's trajectory in 2026 is increasingly cited as an example of how K-pop idols can evolve into broader cultural figures without abandoning their origins. This discourse places him not just within pop history, but within a larger cultural framework. The revival of K-culture in 2026 is also closely tied to generational storytelling. For longtime fans, Jin represents a familiar anchor to the early global rise of BTS. For newer audiences, he appears as a refined and approachable introduction to Korean culture. This cross-generational appeal has amplified his influence, allowing him to function as both a symbol of continuity and a gateway for renewed global interest. Industry insiders suggest that this moment marks a turning point in how Korean artists are positioned internationally. Rather than being promoted solely as trendsetters, figures like Jin are now framed as cultural narrators, artists whose experiences and values shape how Korea is perceived abroad. This narrative-driven approach has proven effective in 2026, as audiences increasingly seek depth and authenticity in the cultural figures they embrace. As the K-culture revival continues to gain momentum, Jin's role remains central to its story. His influence is not defined by constant output, but by resonance. Each appearance, statement, or creative decision adds to a larger picture of what modern K-culture represents: confidence without excess, global reach without cultural dilution, and growth without losing identity. In this evolving landscape, Jin stands not merely as a participant, but as a reference point. His journey encapsulates the transition of K-culture from a powerful global trend into a lasting cultural force. As 2026 moves forward, his name continues to be spoken in conversations about where Korean culture has been and where it is headed next. As conversations around cultural leadership grow louder in 2026, Jin is increasingly framed not just as a celebrity, but as a cultural reference point. Commentators have noted that his influence operates quietly yet persistently, shaping perceptions through consistency rather than spectacle. In an era where visibility is often tied to constant exposure, Jin's restrained approach has come to symbolize a more evolved form of global stardom. This shift is especially visible in how international media discusses Korean culture today. Rather than focusing solely on charts or viral moments, coverage has expanded to include narratives of personal growth, responsibility, and cultural continuity. Jin's post-military return fits seamlessly into this framework, offering a story that resonates with audiences navigating their own transitions and uncertainties. His journey reflects patience and resilience, values that have become central to the renewed appeal of K-culture in 2026. Fashion and visual culture remain another key area where Jin's impact is felt. Editors and critics often describe his style as understated yet authoritative, a balance that mirrors the current direction of Korean cultural exports. Instead of bold experimentation alone, the emphasis has shifted toward refinement and identity. Jin's presence in this space reinforces the idea that K-culture is no longer proving itself to the world, but confidently defining itself. What further strengthens Jin's role in the K-culture revival is the absence of controversy or forced reinvention. His narrative in 2026 is one of continuity, an artist who has evolved without disconnecting from his roots. This has proven powerful in a global environment increasingly skeptical of manufactured images. Jin's authenticity has allowed him to maintain trust across cultures, generations, and industries. Cultural historians have begun to frame this moment as part of a longer arc in the Korean wave. The first global expansion introduced K-pop to the world. The current revival, they argue, is about consolidation and permanence. Jin's position within this phase is particularly significant. He embodies the idea that K-culture has matured enough to sustain influence through meaning, not momentum alone.
There is also a symbolic dimension to Jin's prominence in 2026. As one of the earliest global faces of BTS, his continued relevance underscores the longevity of Korean pop culture on the world stage. Rather than being replaced by newer trends, figures like Jin coexist with them, demonstrating that K-culture can grow outward without erasing its past. As the year advances, Jin's role continues to be discussed in broader cultural forums, from entertainment panels to academic analyses. His name appears not as a passing headline, but as part of an ongoing conversation about how cultural icons are formed and maintained in a globalized era. This sustained relevance is perhaps the clearest indicator of his status within the K-culture revival. Ultimately, Jin's significance in 2026 lies in what he represents rather than what he promotes. He stands for endurance in an industry defined by speed, sincerity in a media landscape shaped by performance, and cultural confidence without excess. In doing so, he helps define a new chapter of K-culture, one that looks forward while remaining deeply connected to its origins.